Okay, so I figured after the test, you guys would still want to work independently. So this is your next lesson, and it goes with page 2 of your note sheet that we were talking about, the upwelling and downwelling, which we skipped the last few times. So let's get started. The question is, what is upwelling? Well, like it says here, it's a process in which currents bring deep cold water to the surface of the ocean. So it's moving up. And it happens every year in about the same place. Now the question is, why is that important? Well, if you think about it, we've been talking about how water flows from land through the estuaries into the water, into the ocean. Well, one of the things that leaves the land during the rain and storms is nutrients. And nutrients are things plants need. They help plants do photosynthesis. So if all the nutrients from the land wash in the ocean and were to sink down to the bottom of the ocean and stay down there, eventually we would not be able to have photosynthesis on our planet, which would kill every living thing on our planet. So as nutrients wash off the coastline through the intertidal zone into the coastline and into the ocean, they sink down to the bottom of the ocean, but they don't stay there. Every so often, the wind from the ocean starts to blow, and this happens, like I said, in a controlled pattern every year. And it's just based upon the rotation of the earth, so it's pretty consistent. As the wind blows, it creates a current that moves along the coastline, so it hits the coastline, which has mountains and hills. And what that does is that forces that wind that's blowing across the ocean to drag up. And so the wind is blowing this way, but it creates a deep underwater current that picks up all this good stuff, all those nutrients, all that plant food that somehow sank to the bottom of the ocean. Or if a animal died and it decomposed, that's still fertilizer and that's still nutrients. So as those nutrients are brought up from the deep, dark part of the ocean up to the light zone, the phytoplankton themselves now have the ability to do photosynthesis at a higher level. And that kicks off life. Plants, or in this case phytoplankton, which are the producers of the marine ecosystem, once they are in a massive number, that brings in the zooplankton, which then brings in the small fish. Where there's small fish, there are bigger fish. So here's the concept. The winds create a current, and the currents actually bring in the nutrients, and the nutrients feed the phytoplankton. Okay? So, in this video, and I'm going to skip through it, but I do want you to watch it. So this is the bottom of the ocean, and they're doing this with an ROV. So it's the laser you see here is how they know where the camera is pointing. Because remember, they're controlling this from the top of the boat, which could be a long distance away. And so before the upwelling event, the water is very clear. Once the upwelling event happens, the water gets murky. Like I said, that's a good thing, because that's loaded with nutrients. And once you see these little fish around, well, these little fish here, well, they're hunting the zooplankton, who are with the phytoplankton. So you now have a food chain. So once again, deep, cold, nutrient-rich water is brought up. Once it's up and it can't go anywhere, it sits at the surface, and nutrients plus sunlight equal photosynthesis. Nutrients plus sunlight equals photosynthesis, which then means plants. So these upwelling events are important because they equals money. The fishermen who know where these upwelling events are, they can go to these areas and they can catch literally millions of fish in a very short period of time, because they form these very dense bait balls. And if you know where these fish are going to come, because they're hunting the zooplankton, which are going where the phytoplankton are. And so if you can track these upwelling events, you can catch a lot of fish in a very short period of time. Okay, so in nature, there's a cycle. So wherever there's upwelling, in the second part of the year, there's this thing called downwelling. And what it is that cold water that's been sitting on the surface has now gotten very warm. So the sun's been beating on it. But as it gets so hot, as the temperatures change, the wind patterns change. Remember, the earth is spinning. Okay? And as the rotational patterns catch up, the upwelling events stop, and now downwelling occurs, where all that hot water that's been sitting on the surface gets dragged to the bottom of the ocean. Now that's important, because that hot water being dragged to the bottom of the ocean takes all the heat with it. So that actually slows down global warming. So that hot water, which will then evaporate off and cause more hurricanes and what's not, is now moving down to the bottom of the ocean, and that's a good thing. So downwelling is when the wind patterns change. Before, the wind was blowing this way, bringing the water up. Now the wind patterns are moving and is bringing all this hot water that's been sitting there all spring and all summer, is moving it down to the bottom of the ocean. So now the question is, what's in salt water? Well, there are a lot of gases. And I would want you to memorize this little paragraph here. And what it's saying is that there is nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide in the water. But this carbon dioxide is really what's the most important in this lesson, because this CO2 is used by animals to actually build their shells. This is why you find bigger animals in colder water. If you were to Google the Alaskan king crab or these all these stuff, they're not found in warm water. They're found in cold water. And they're found in cold water simply because colder water holds more gas. Let me say it again. The colder the water, the more gas it can hold. And if there's more carbon dioxide in that water, the animals that grow shells can get bigger. Okay? So remember, plants need oxygen. Plants need carbon dioxide, animals need oxygen. That will go in those gaps there. So, here are the properties of seawater. Cold water holds more gas than warm water. That's a big deal. If the salt water has a lower salinity, and remember that the term salinity means how much salt, vocabulary. The less salty it is, the more gas it can hold. And that's why you find that warm water, okay, warm water which has that high evaporation, okay, so if the water is being evaporated off, there's more salt at the top of the water. At the bottom of the ocean, where there's no evaporation, there's the water and the salt stays better mixed, so there's you find less salinity. The deeper water, which has more pressure, holds more. So if you want to find big crabs, big lobsters, you want to find water that's deep and cold. If you've ever watched the show The Deadliest Catch, and you wonder why those guys are risking their life going through those storms in the Arctic Sea to catch those crabs, well, they're there because the water is deep and it's cold, so it holds more gas, the gas being carbon dioxide, so the crabs and the lobsters there get a lot bigger. So I'm not going to play this video all the way through, but in it, it's actually showing you the nutrients coming up.
Far below the surface, they collide with the island's flanks.
So if you look here one set, okay, these are the nutrients you see. The nutrients means a small fish eat. Where there's small fish, there's big fish. Big fish eating the the smaller fish, when you find them coming up, you find even bigger fish. So food chains. You can watch, it's a pretty cool video, I suggest you watch it. We looked at this in chemosynthesis, and you can watch it on your own as well.
Life. Now, at or near the surface of...
So that's the lesson in a nutshell. Once again, if there's nothing else you get from this, I want you to look at this slide here. Is that if we're looking at why upwelling and downwelling is so important, well, upwelling is important because it brings nutrients. Nutrients plus sunlight equals photosynthesis, which means that there are more phytoplankton. Where there's more phytoplankton, there are more zooplankton. Where there are more zooplankton, you now find small fish and food for everybody else. On the flip side, downwelling is important because it takes all that hot water that's been sitting there and that's full of carbon dioxide from all of our fossil fuels that's been burning, and it drags that down to the cold depths, to the abyss, or to the aphotic or the benthic zone rather. And now that the warm water is getting cold, it's holding all that carbon dioxide, and all of the crabs and the lobsters and the whatever else are able to grow bigger. Okay, so here I've done an image search to show you some of these big crabs. I mean, look at the size of these monsters. They are huge. Well, they are huge because they're caught in the cold, nutrient-rich waters of the Alaska and the Arctic Sea. And so this, all the stuff you're eating, stone crabs, they get pretty big. So that's why they're there. Look at this monster. I'm sure those of you like crab legs would like to meet him. If you were to do another image search for, say, let me pause it so I can do the image search. So this is to show the deadliest catch. And so these guys go in the Arctic Sea, and this is what it's like. They're battling 30-foot winds. It's cold, it's freezing, that's ice on the boat. So the question is, why would you fish there? Well, you'd fish there because the water is so cold and nutrient-rich that the animals there get bigger. So let's go back. Imagine you're on that boat. That's the captain. And I have it muted because some of the language he's using. But why? Well, the why is because the crabs there and the lobsters there are huge. Let me show you what they look like. All right, so I'm gonna unmute it. Here are the guys. They just pulled up a pot from the cold, deep Arctic Sea, and here's what their pots look like.
Oh, baby, oh, baby. Holy.
That's some yummy crab and lobster. And once again, they risk their life because that's where all the good stuff is at.
Sig's choice to fish red crab is paying off.
We just nailed.
So I'm gonna skip through because it's saying the same thing over and over again. So I hope you guys are getting an idea of why it is. But it's all because if you know where the upwelling and downwelling events and the areas are, you can make yourself quite a bit of money. Those fishermen can make up to $10,000 per month depending on how much fish they catch. For a job where you don't need a high school diploma or a degree or something like that, that's a lot of money you can make. And so, but it's very dangerous. They say it's the most dangerous job in the world because every year many of them die in that cold, freezing water. All right, so that's your lesson.